And welcome back. The man who has won 18 NCAA tournament games, which I think is 14 more than St. Louis University has ever won, is in studio. Rick Majerus. He'll be here till 12 o'clock. Kyle Cassidy, best player on the floor last night, I think. I may be wrong, but 11 points, 5 assists, 6 rebounds, and playing great defense. You kept telling me last year he's really good in practice, and then I kept watching him in games, and we didn't see it. He's about where you thought he'd be, huh?
He's unselfish to a fault. He asserts himself situationally, and he's got to learn to assert himself throughout the course of the entire period of play. He's very cerebral. He cuts angles defensively well by positioning. He's anticipatory both ways. He sees the pass. A lot of times he makes the pass that leads the pass. You know, he gets the hockey assist that enables us to make the play. He's real good. Now, you know, it came down to Michigan and us. As soon as we jumped in, we were the first to offer. Once we jumped in, Penn State offered next. Actually, the next night. Michigan offered 2 nights later, and then there were some other ones. But you know, it's interesting. Had he gone to Michigan, I think he would have been good no matter where he went. I think he's going to be really, really good for us. I tell people right now publicly, and I told him on the air last night on the television, he'll be our next academic All-American because he'll have the playing credentials and he'll have the athletic credentials. And that's a big honor to be an academic All-American. Big honor for a school to have an academic All-American. You know, he's really a gutty player. When you said last night about his points, his you know, and all this, his best thing about last night too was his defense, but his poise and composure. You know, they rattled Comain a little bit. That 5 took it to Comain. Comain didn't play a good game last night. Now, Willie had not played one the game before. Willie got taken out of the game with a physical presence and with just tenacity against Dayton. And, you know, Willie came back last night and played much better. Now, Comain's got to come back against UMass because they got the leading scoring guard in the league, Harris, and Comain's going to have to defend him and be our first line of defense. So it'll be a good challenge for Comain.
Let's get to Reed. A rebound away from a double-double. He started really well for you, then struggled a little bit. I know you benched him for a game. Now he appears to be back.
Well, I mean, what the back is a relative term. I mean, Willie sometimes is his own worst enemy. He realizes that. First of all, I will say this: I'm very proud of Willie and the progress he's made in the classroom, which is a tribute to Janet Oberly and to the professors at SLU. Now we got a brand new academic coordinator, Brandon, and Brandon has got 250 kids. So, you know, but he's trying to help Willie. Al Jensen and Tony Young, assistant coaches, have done a great job. Al in particular. Tony's now taken over the mantle a little bit from Al academically, but they've kind of, and Willie himself has come to a better place in his life. He's proud. Like, he was so happy the other day. He was so proud he got a B+ in a math quiz, and he went to a math tutor after 2 home games ago. I can't remember who he played, but he had a tutorial appointment set up at 10:30 at night until midnight. And so I got to tell you, I'm proud of Willie for that. Willie is a shot blocker. He's you know, if Willie really ran the floor, you know, his stamina and endurance are terrible. He doesn't know how to fight through fatigue. He's got to learn to pick that up, and he's working on it. Progress in Willie's case is not measured in anything other than small increments, but it still is progress. Like last night, he makes those 2 free throws, but then again, making those 2 after he missed 4 other ones, and when we had a cushion of 5, is a lot easier.
What do you do about your free throw situation? Well, what can you do now?
Well, the first thing I got to do is I got to try to move this. We got a third basket, and we got to move this third basket at our main court to the side court so we can go shoot on it. We got 3 baskets in the main court in practice.
Wow.
I know, that's what I said, but you know, there's not a lot of people at SLU are really well intended and very committed, but they aren't very conversant with basketball. And so we got to move that basket back behind the bleachers so we can get more reps in, because even bad shooters shoot better with reps. I'm reluctant to change guys' form during the season. I think sometimes free throw shooting is infectious. Like you look at Ellis last night, he misses, Quamain misses. And I think that is especially so with a young team. You know, they kind of feed off each other. I don't know the psychology of it, but I know that it's that way. I think a lot of times we practice so much to prepare for the other teams. I don't allocate enough free throw shooting time, so I'm part of the problem too. So I'm really going to try to go with a threefold attack, and try to get that basket, that slew put up where we can use it, and then I'm going to try to allocate more time for free throws, and then I've interceded a little bit with Willie, John Smith's, and Corey's foul shooting. With Quamain, it's a case of concentration. We don't have the mental toughness. This is what Cassidy excels in best of all. To when we get fatigued, you know, we fall victim to the greatest quote of all time relative to sports and life by Lombardi. Fatigue makes cowards of us all. You know, I mean, it's so easy to do things right when you're fresh. I mean, you know, like you know yourself here. What do you do? 3 hours a day?
Yes.
You know, one thing at ESPN that they always said the real professionals did, and I'm not, and you seem to love what you do, but and you're great at doing that. But after the game, we always had these ESPN shots. I forget what the hell they call them, but where the game's over, now you got to go do ESPN News.
Yeah.
And then you got to recapitulate the game for a sports center. And you know, like these guys I worked with, Dave O'Brien, who was a consummate professional, and guys like that, Stacey Dale. It's not gender specific; it's to the individual. They were great, and you know, I'd be there. Oh, the game's over. Let me go I want to go get a beer. I want to get a pizza. I want to go get a shower. You know, that type of thing. And it's just that I'm fatigued from doing the game. And the same thing with players; they got to learn to play through that.
I know you. The last thing you want to do is talk about the postseason or anything like that.
Yes, that'd be the last thing, because we're in the season. You know, listen. You need to call Self, the guy on the other end of the state, as he can talk about the postseason.
But let me ask you: you are 8-3 in the conference, and you have some home games coming up where you've been.
I'm the consummate game at a time guy, Frank. I mean,
all right.
I want to tell you something right now. UMass is very talented. They play this. He was an assistant for Calipari. They run this Memphis offense. They open the floor up, and our vulnerability is a lack of athletic ability.
Dribble drive.
Dribble drive, right? Yeah. Exactly. And what we've got to do is, I am just so focused on that because I can only control that practice tomorrow. Today, the guys are looking at film. Tomorrow, they've already had a day off this week, but they need it off physically. You know, they're younger, and I can tell they're wearing down. They don't listen to this show, at least that they better not be. For one reason, they should be in class or study hall right now. But saying that without any risk of them hearing this is, they are fatiguing a bit due to their youth. Hey, Remican is 18 years old. Your son's 18.
Yeah.
And your son's an 18-year-old kid, and he said he's going
high school.
Well,
he'll go to college next year.
Golf, yeah. But imagine if your son was 18, moved, and remember we were talking about this, and that's why you got such a great family, and you're a great dad. You know, now Remican leaves Dallas, Texas, and didn't know, you know, I mean, like, so he leaves a whole different way of life, because it is different in the South. He leaves his family, to whom he's very close. Great mom and dad, great sister. Sister's a volleyball player. And now he comes to SLU, and he has a very difficult academic schedule. And by the way, the kid's a champ. He's a B+, A- student.
Wow.
And now he's, you know, like now here's this fat bald guy yelling at him to be aggressive, you know, because he wants to give everybody a hug. He'd be a great casino greeter if he's ever a good player. I mean,
all right, one more thought before we go to break. If I were to tell you before the season that you'd win 8 of your first 11 conference games, you would say...
I would have drug tested you. Period. It would have just been a case, were you on crystal meth, were you on coke, were you mainlining, were you elephanting, were you whatever you were doing. So yes, at this point in time, I'm very happy. You know what I'm happy with? I'm happy because I'll tell you what makes me the happiest of all. I came to practice at exactly 2:05 yesterday. 2:30 was the start of the game shoot around. At 1:50, 7 of the 9 guys who didn't have class were in the gym working, and I have to restrict them from working hard. I told the coaches today, I don't want to see a coach working with a player. I don't want to see a player in the gym today, and that's a nice problem to have.
That is great.
You know, so it's you know, and again, we're dovetailing nicely into being terrific competitors and good student athletes.